everybody and welcome to my video, Getting Tidier. I hope you're all well and I hope you've had a good day at the start of the weekend. So I hope you have a nice weekend, whatever you plan to do. So today is my last day of the January challenge where I have been getting rid of a set number of things every single day. It's the 31st, so today I'm meant to get rid of one item. Although yet again, I get rid of far more than that. And over the next couple of days, I will be putting out another video to talk about the total that I managed to get rid of from my house over the course of the challenge. So a massive thank you to those of you that have supported me during the month and even before that. Many of you now have been following me for more than a year. Many people follow and comment on every single video. I like every video. And if you can't comment and you can't like because you're watching it on television, thank you very much for watching my video on television. I very, very much appreciate all the support you've given me. So in this video, you'll see the first few clips show you what to expect. So I'm doing work in my daughter's room to prepare her room for painting and decorating and sorting out the flooring. You'd also see me spending some time in the kitchen, in the pantry. You'd also see me in the lounge, so I'm really busy in the video. Everything upstairs is in a little bit of a muddle because there's the only thing now in my daughter's bedroom is the wardrobe. Everything else has moved out, so there's a lot in the little playroom where her bed has been moved and furniture has been moved. Also, we've got lots of things across the landing, in the guest room and even in the bathroom. So it is all a bit of a pickle, so I'm very keen to get it decorated as soon as possible. As well as that, it's gone from bad to worse over in Yarmouth. So I mentioned before about how somebody has had a look about the bath leaking. It's now unfortunately impacted the electrics. So I've been busy sorting that out today. Oh my goodness. So you'll see that I'm managing to get a lot of the carpet up. The underlay almost fell to pieces as I pulled it up. This carpet was put down in about 2008. So it's been down for quite a long time. And this carpet, of all the carpets in our house, this carpet is the lowest quality. We bought it just originally for our spare bedroom. The front bedroom was our spare bedroom. And so we didn't invest quite so much in this carpet in comparison to others. So I hope you've all had a lovely day. In terms of our day, we didn't get up that early. My daughter had an Italian lesson at 10 o'clock. So we drove over to that. We'd planned to do various things for lunch. But then my husband got up earlier to go and get her free from pastry and there wasn't any. So that meant that after dropping us off at the Italian lesson, he then drove around various supermarkets to find the pastry, came all the way home and made her, it's like a steak slice. You know, I did that mix in the slow cooker. Well, he made one for her lunch and then he's made another 3 for the freezer. And she loves them. They really, really turned out very well. So I was worried about putting too much cabbage because I put half a cabbage in it. But actually the cabbage reduced down and the mix was really nice. It was definitely finished off by how my husband did the gravy mix. Really tastes very nice. So she had that for lunch. And after the Italian lesson, we went into the city. Had to go to the bank. And also went to a food, sort of an organic food shop to get some specific freeform items. We also went on Norwich Marketplace. So if you stay until the end, I have added a few clips of where we went today. And I also went to a lovely little shop on Norwich Market and I bought some cards that show various different pictures of Norwich that I'm going to be sending out to those of you that asked me for a prayer card. I haven't forgotten. I have got your emails. So I just wanted to get some nice local cards. And I didn't want to get them from like a big shop. I wanted to get them from a small market stall. And there's a man that I often go to. You know, I always chat to him because he knows that I always come to his stall. So you'll see the store where I buy the cards, and then when the cards arrive in the post, you'll know where they're from. So the other day when I started removing the carpet, I was using the world's sharpest knife. That cut really quite smoothly through. Then my husband said about using the Stanley knife. So I started using that, but I felt like the blade was a bit blunt. So he came up and swapped the blade for me, and then it started cutting through like butter. You'll see that what I did quite a lot of the time was I rolled the carpet up and threw it out of the window. I did put some in bags, but most of what I put in bags was the underlay, because the underlay was falling to pieces. I'm wondering, you know what I'm like and about landfill, I was wondering whether anybody wants pieces of carpet like this for their allotments, because it's really useful to suppress weeds. Now the wood underneath the carpet is actually really quite good condition. You can see where the lady had had its stains. At one point you can see that she'd had like a little chest of drawers and stained around the chest of drawers rather than move the chest of drawers, which was quite funny. But the underlay came up really easily, and the carpet, literally with a Stanley knife, it went through quite effectively. So while you're watching me do the work, I'm pulling all the carpet up and finishing that job off. I'm going to go through some of your comments. So thank you very, very much for adding comments to my channel. I love reading them, as you know, and I love sharing your different ideas and thoughts. Now I wanted just to mention, a couple of you have talked about the car boot sale, all my car boot odds and ends that I'm saving up. And many of you have said, oh, what's the point of that? You're not going to, you probably won't get much money. Is it a good use of time? So I have sort of talked about this in the past, but if for those of you that are newer, you may not have heard me talk about this. So partly the reason for me doing the car boot sale is to talk to my daughter about the cost of things and the value of money, and think about how she spends her own money that she gets like from birthdays and Christmases. So we may not take a massive amount of money. The last car boot sale we did wasn't that bad. Most of it was my daughter's things. So most of the things that were sold were my daughter's, and that's her money. So often with car boot sales, me and my husband did talk about this, usually with car boot sales, the parents organise the sale, and usually the parents would just put the money kind of into housekeeping, and that would be used for other things in the home. But this time, when we did it, and the next time we do it, all the things that my daughter sells that are hers, that will be her money. And she will also pay a part of the contribution for the pitch. Now, I think it's a really good message for a child, because you could be standing there for 2 hours and, how much potentially are you going to take? We don't know. You look at an item and think, oh, I spent £6 on that, and somebody offers you 50 pence. And then say, for instance, she does get £30 in total from all the things that she sold. She spent however many hours standing there for £30. Then when she goes into Boots and thinks about buying a lip balm for £9, which this is a lip balm that she wanted and bought today, £9 for a lip balm and a case, that really makes you think in terms of money and the cost of things and spending money. So for those of you saying, oh, there's no point, or it's a waste of time, I understand what you're saying. But when you're saving up for things, money is money. We give an awful lot to charity. You can see there's lots going out of the house to charity. We do a whole range of different things for charity. But for my daughter's toys, I think it's really important that certain ones, she sells them on the car boot sale. She's speaking to the people. She's sorting out the change. Really, really good experience. As well as that, we all had great fun last time. So there's different stores to look round. You have to avoid you spending the money that you've taken on other people's stalls. You have to avoid doing that. But we had a really nice time. I just got to make sure that we go on a day where the weather is improved. We don't want to go when it's really, really cold. Certainly didn't want to go when it's raining. But we've done two. We did one, didn't we, at Aylsham, which is a smaller one. And then we did a second one. That was in Norwich, I think. That's absolutely massive. Actually, there's an argument to say you're better to go to a smaller one because people bring a set amount of money to spend, and if there's hundreds of stalls, that money is going to be spread out over all those stalls. Whereas a smaller car boot sale, they've got the same amount of money and they want to spend it, so you've got more chance of selling more. Okay, so the first comment I'm going to go through is from Sparrow Stockwell. Hello, Sparrow. Sparrow says, yes, I'm so glad you spotted the Hoover contents bag and the rubbish bag before offering them to the charity shop. I know. Just imagine how awful that would be. There's one man who lives really close to me. He'd be like, I can't believe she gave that to the charity shop. Sparrow says, I never thought about the little creatures that were growing and hibernating and eggs and things like that. I'm going to be starting to go outside soon to get the garden in shape. I'll think about these things now. That's good. I just think, Sparrow, that gives nature a helping hand. And if we don't have the pollinators, we have problems with our vegetables. Next comment is from Barbara Crowley. Barbara says, I've told you before I'm a minimalist, but I so enjoy your sweet nature and humour. From Barbara, PA in America. Oh, thank you, Barbara. That's very kind. Susan Farmer says, when my boys were teens and pre-teens, they each had a task every evening. One did dishes, one did vacuuming of the living room, and one took out the trash. These tasks were rotated weekly. I'm interested, Susan, how old they are now, and if they're grown up or married, how much they do in the house. I bet their houses are very organised. Wenda says, you need a craft room. Could your future office double up as a craft room, or maybe keep it all in the dining room, since that seems to be where you do things? Yeah, I could move some of it into the study. I could do that. I could have like a little unit and put my craft things. Karen Cars says, hi, I'm from Michigan. Hello, Karen. I wonder how your charity shops work in England. Some of our charity shops are now big business and charging almost retail prices, and it is discouraging to say the least. Karen, we have exactly the same thing here. Sometimes in charity shops you'll see things from Primark, for example, and the amount they're charging in the charity shop is the same as how much it would be for a brand new item. It's a shame because lots of people like the sort of, with charity shops, being able to rummage and being able to find a bargain. So it is a real shame. And they also pay for quite, a lot of the staff are volunteers, but also a lot of the staff are now salaried, which of course then they do need to take more money to pay for the salary costs. Shira Tam says, hi Emma, Mum taught me macrame as a teen. I used it for part of a guide badge. Pronounce it the same way as you. Cami will be pleased by you adding photos to the basket. Absolutely. Regarding the iron levels, I was advised to take a supplement every second day as the absorption is better. Also in home economics, we were taught to have an orange cocktail. Cut fruit, not a drink. Half an hour before the iron source, as vitamin C aids iron absorption. However, do your own research and what works best for each of you. Good luck. Thank you very much for that. It's very useful. Wendy Jones says those coupons on the cupboard door would be better in the car to have at hand when you're shopping. Absolutely, Wendy, but we've not decided whether we're going to use them for shopping. So you can change them like 2 times the value or 3 times the value for other things. So that might be for holidays, for restaurants, for tickets. So you can use them for lots of other things. So we haven't yet decided how we're going to use them. Teresa Bowie says, I love the way you say macrame. You should leave that sitting out so you could work on it. Yeah, that is tempting. But I don't want to leave a mess. But that would make me probably sit and do some. I could do it when I watch television. Holly says, I love those built-in cupboards. I'd love to have some, but our lounge is an odd shape. Thank you ever so much, Holly. We had the cupboards fitted. Probably we were here about 2 years. And they're very similar. My mum had cupboards in a similar way. I can remember someone said to me about having my bookcase open, But I'm glad I didn't, because I don't want to see all the books. You know, someone said about having it glass. I mean, now my bookcase is clearer, but it used to be really higgledy-piggledy. So I would rather have solid cupboards so people can't see it. Barbara Palmore says, I love your built-ins. I think if you redo the shelves with like things together and then scatter framed family pictures here and there, it would look fantastic. Just a suggestion. Barbara, I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to rationalise some of the things that I've got in there. So, for example, I've got 4 large panda stifes and maybe about 12 small ones. And I think what would be better is to put some of them away, wrap them up very carefully, and then just have a couple on display rather than it all being so full. The thing is, this was originally the dining room, so it was originally, you know, items for dining. But now it's part of our lounge. It feels like it would be nicer if that was more of a display, if you see what I mean. Cole says the fireplaces in your home are lovely. Thank you very much. It was interesting. The other day we went to Lowestoft Yacht Club, and the fireplace they had in their main room was almost identical to ours. So the building must have been built at a similar sort of time. Next comment is from Brooke Howell, and Brooke says, I'm finding that I'm struggling to connect with the characters during this season of Traitors as much as I did other years. There are at least 3 characters I would love to get murdered. Did you hear me yelling at you to take that pencil box you put back in the basket in the drawer right above your head that has all kinds of loose pens and pencils? Your living room is looking so much better. I don't think that pencil case would fit in the drawer. That's the problem, Brooke, because I've got all those loose envelopes everywhere. It looks and sounds like you're wearing some different slippers today. Are they a Christmas present? Thank you very much for your comment as always, Brooke. I think maybe you'll get used to Traitors, and perhaps the irritating people will leave, and then you'll feel more connected. In terms of the slippers, they were my husband's Christmas present. I couldn't find my slippers, so I was wearing his. Karen Howard says, stop shouldering on yourself. Shouldering on yourself. I've got no idea what that meant, so I did say, how do you mean? And Karen said, I should do this, I should have done that, I should do this soon. Oh, really? Shoulding. Stop shoulding on yourself. And yeah, I suppose I do that. I need to do this, I need to do that. I really should do that, I really should do that. Yeah, I think I probably do that, Karen. I think you're probably right. Now, I read a little phrase the other day that I thought really made me think. I really liked it. Now, what I often say to my daughter is, I'm not everyone's cup of tea. And no, we're not, everybody is exactly the same. There's people that aren't my cup of tea, and I'm not other people's cup of tea. And that's absolutely fine and normal and really, really important to actually accept. And to accept that you're not going to be liked by everybody because you're not everybody's cup of tea. And I think that's a really important thing. And the earlier you realise that, the better things are in so many ways. And the phrase that I absolutely loved that a family member of mine shared on social media, and it says, you can be the prettiest shade of green, but you'll never be enough for someone whose favourite colour is blue. You can be the prettiest shade of green, but you'll never be enough for someone whose favourite colour is blue. I really, really liked that. I thought it's very, very similar to my little phrase about a cup of tea. Now, the other day I shared that we'd gone to a family funeral. That was a lovely service for the person. Very sad, the whole situation. But the person had had a wonderfly long life. And the service was lovely, really lovely. The family had done a great job with organising all the hymns, etc., etc. Of course, a nice part was to see people that we'd not seen for a long time. so catching up and chatting with people that we'd not spoken for quite some time. Now, I got talking to someone that we've not seen for years. I've always got on really, really well with them. I really like them and I find them very, very interesting. And we just talk non-stop. So this is my husband's side of the family. But she got talking and she shared with me that someone else in the family had been talking about me behind my back. Now, this doesn't surprise me in the least because this person talks about everybody behind their backs. And I always think that if someone talks about someone behind their back to you, the chances are they will also be talking about you to somebody else. But what I really admired about her was how she said that she was so unhappy about this situation, and she said she just couldn't believe, and she spoke to them about it and said, last time we saw you, your behaviour was outrageous, and then went through and sort of explained the reasons why and how she wasn't happy, and she wasn't happy that some of the things had been said about me. So I said, oh, what was said? She said, oh, just general moaning. And I thought, that's really interesting. I wonder what it is, wonder what they are moaning about. And then she went on to say, the thing is, Emma, you are a strong person. You have opinions. And she said, you're a bit feisty. And I thought, oh, that word is kind of got positive and negative connotations. But she likes me, I like her. She said, and the thing is, that person just won't be able to deal with a strong woman. And I thought that's very interesting because the person was speaking is a strong woman. And we've always got on very, very well. And she said, don't let anybody ever bully you and don't let anybody ever get you down. And because she moved house and I hadn't even sent her a Christmas card the last couple of years because I didn't know her address. And she gave me her address and I thought, this is the sort of thing I procrastinate for. I'll think about this for the next month. But I thought I'm going to write a letter to her just to say how lovely it was to see her, lovely it was to catch up, and I hope she visits Norfolk sometime soon. So the fact of it is, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I think it's really interesting that she shared that with me and she had that conversation. I spoke to someone in my family and they said, well, should she have really said that? I said, well, it doesn't bother me. I know that person would talk about me behind my back and other people behind their back. I just kind of accept it. The thing that I was pleased about, when she sort of indicated earlier in the day, I only said positive things about them and said about how, they're good people. We've all got our faults, haven't we? We've all got our areas of, weakness. But fundamentally, they are good people that talk about me behind my back. Oh, so you can see that I'm in the lounge there. What I'm doing is I'm going through the pile of papers that was behind that trunk that's in the loft room. So the trunk that's full of bed linen. Behind there, I had put a big scrapbook and loads of pictures that my daughter has drawn and painted from when she's very, very little. Now, the reason why I've managed to get rid of some of these was because many of them had no date. Some of them were done at nursery school, so she probably was around about 4. But I kept ones like her handprint and her feet prints. And I also said to her, look, will you want to take these when you're a lady? When you move out of the house, do you want these? So she looked at me like I was a bit crazy. I checked with my husband. And in the end, we kept the ones which we could all remember and that we all had fond memories connected to, and the little ones of her handprints and her footprints. So we kept those. But I got rid of loads. So I got rid of more than 20. So I'm really, really pleased about that because it creates more space. And also it was sitting behind that trunk, which is really like a dust trap. They were really getting very, very dusty, which of course is not good. The next comment I wanted to go through is from Nan Holmes. Now, Nan, I wanted to check with you, has the baby arrived? Nan's family are waiting for a baby. I guess is it your great grandchild? I'm just wondering how everyone's getting on. Nan says, I have a 24-year-old granddaughter with Asperger's. She won't drive, get married or leave home. I don't think they call it Asperger's syndrome anymore. She has a 16-year-old brother who already knows he'll be taking care of her one day. She's a beautiful soul and her superpower is cleaning. If you put a glass down, it'll be gone and washed if you look away. Lol. Oh, how lovely. And then people have added a bit of a comment in terms of the use of the word autistic spectrum disorder or Asperger's, because like Nan says, many people don't use Asperger's anymore. But how lovely that she's supporting the family like that and wants to be helpful and wants to be supportive. That's so nice. And it's obviously nice that you all probably encourage her with that and give her praise. Susie Lynn says, at last, a real home getting cleared. Not an untidy mess. Thank you. I don't know, Susie. Sometimes my house is an untidy mess. I'm just trying to get better. Carrie says, hello Emma, you have such a beautiful soul. Oh, hearing your response on the person's comment about their son being ill and in the hospital really shows your compassion, insight and ability to comfort others. I want a friend like you in my corner. Oh, Carrie, thank you for saying that. That's very kind. Karen Davis says, I love that you follow Space Maker method. I so agree with April's philosophy that of course you should keep things you love. You just need to make space for them. I'm sure that as you continue your journey to get tidier, homes for everything you love will be the result. Thanks for explaining the double posting of the same video. YouTube must be so frustrating sometimes. Thank you, Karen, for your post. I do believe in a number of the things with the Space Maker methods. And I think it's really important. Some people end up feeling forced to get rid of things. And I really don't think that's what it's about. I think that's why I do the decluttering and going back to areas in layers. Because some things I'm just not ready to get rid of. Karen Howard says, I'm excited for the decoration of your daughter's room. Karen, what do you think of what I've done so far? What do you think? Kathleen Queen says, little Emma's room is going to be tranquil with the blue wall. Keep up the good work. Kathleen, she's got plans. She saw some blue bed linen or white bed linen. She's not quite decided. But she's asked for white curtains. So I did say, well, it's quite similar to what you've got because she's got like cream. But I don't mind getting her new curtains because those curtains are from about 2004. So they've had a good life and the pulley system's not working properly, so I can replace that at the same time. Erin's commented again. Erin's from Canada. Hello, Erin. Erin Craig. Erin says, you're doing fantastic at keeping the kitchen and living room tidy, I've noticed. That's great. I love the fireplaces in the rooms. They're beautiful. I'm watching from Brookville, Ontario in Canada. Thank you very much, Erin. Cami says, the way you describe being able to let go of things, sometimes on a second pass, is a great example of building your decluttering muscles. Thank you, Cami. Laurie McCaw says, hi Emma, I love seeing the beautiful red tile that was hiding under the carpet. I know, Laurie, I'd completely forgotten about it. Completely forgotten. It was quite funny though. Did I tell you all how my daughter had told one of her best friends at school, and the best friends at school had said, well, I think the tiles sound quite nice, because I think my daughter wanted them covered up again. Laurie says, I was a little jealous when you talked about signs of spring in January. I'm from upstate New York, America, and we are having a snowstorm with about 2 feet of snow today. Spring flowers are months away. Isn't it funny how we all have spring at such different times? Now I'm in the kitchen. You can see the kitchen has slipped a bit. And that's because we've had dinner, lunch, breakfast for 2 days. And I've fallen behind on the washing up. So I didn't do any washing up yesterday. I worked all day, went to the gym in my lunch hour. And then we had chips and then we came home and I did my voiceover and not much else. I also became aware at about 9 o'clock last night that all the electrics at Yarmouth had tripped. There was no heating, There was no lights, there was no anything, the shower could not be used. And so I contacted the lady and talked her through kind of next steps. Of course, that's concerning because she's got children, so I really don't want her to be cold. So there's lots of blankets and lots of hot water bottles. I spoke to her about sorting out a heater for today, or for if the situation continued. But of course, nobody likes those little electric fan heaters because the heat doesn't last very long and they're very expensive to run. Very thankfully, we were due to get an electrician round there because we'd got a problem with one of the plug sockets. And I messaged the electrician, she messaged the electrician. I've never met this man, but we have got so many similar views on so many different things that he's shared with me over the many years that I have asked him to do work. It's just strange that I have never met him face to face. So he messaged me and he said, I can go tomorrow at 2:00. I thought, oh, you're a lifesaver, because literally I woke up this morning and I felt really happy. And then I remembered the things that I needed to worry about. So he has been to the house, he's got the boiler back, and he thinks it's all connected to the bath still leaking. So I just need to get that man in, the builder man who's done a few other jobs for me, to go and sort the bath. And then they can have, I've said to them, don't have any showers and be very careful when having a bath. So hopefully that'll be sorted as soon as possible. Fingers crossed. So yeah, I feel like the kitchen's starting to slip, which is why it's really important for me to spend some time on it, put things away, get loads of washing up done. Thing is, like my husband this morning, he got up early to go to the supermarket to get that pastry. Then they didn't have any, so he came back and cooked something else for breakfast. He made up me pancakes. Then he made these steak slices, one for my daughter's lunch and 3 to go in the freezer. He is going to Amsterdam in a couple of weeks for work. So he did say to me, well, now they're in the freezer, that'll work out quite well because you'll be able to get a couple of those out. That'll make things a little bit easier for you in the evening. Yeah, so my husband's away for, I think it's 3 days. And then soon after it's half term and our friends are over from Italy. So the other friends, they don't really speak any English. The lady speaks like no English. The little girl speaks no English. And the dad speaks a little bit of English. But my daughter just, runs the conversation really. And then when she's talking to the little girl, I use sort of my broken Italian and Google Translate. So we don't know whether we might go to see them in London and stay over, or they might come to Norwich. We haven't yet sorted that out, but that'll be nice to look forward to. Sorry, I've still got a bit of a cough, so I had to stop the the recording in order to have a bit of a cough. Next, Jessica says, sometimes it's easy and sometimes I have to put it aside and revisit a second time at a later point. Absolutely, that's really good. I do feel though I'm getting better at decluttering the more I do it. Practice makes perfect. I'm glad your daughter is getting better and I hope everything goes well with her room. We are also refurbishing and decluttering our child's room and my kiddo is looking forward to the new bedroom. What a lovely comment. Thank you ever so much, Jessica, for sharing. Sounds like you've really gone on a journey, that you're really moving forward and you're doing a great job. So just keep on doing exactly the same thing. Authenticity MG says, I regret getting wooden floors because they're so cold in the winter. Yes, I suppose it can be colder because we have them all downstairs and I never notice them really being cold, but I wear slippers, so we do wear slippers throughout the house. Cami says, wow, that story about your daughter not being able to walk. Thank God you were her mother. So for those of you that are new or just missed this story, this is when my daughter was in hospital during COVID sort of times, and she's got like an asthma exacerbation and they put her on like a drip. I'm not entirely certain what it was. I think it was like something in magnesium. I'm not quite sure. But it made her, she was getting better. And they might be the experts in medicine, but I'm the expert in my daughter. And I know the patterns that she goes through with her breathing. She has like 2 days where she's really quite bad and then she starts improving. And I knew she was improving. And they put her on this drip and she started feeling very, very sick and she couldn't put weight on her legs. So I had to carry her to the toilet. Now, she's always been quite petite, apart from when she was born. She was £9.11 when she was born. But I carried her to the toilet and then I just asked them to stop it. I asked them to remove the drip and they weren't very happy about that. But thank you, Cami, for your response. Cami says some people would have just trusted the authority, but you stood up for her. I love that. Unfortunately, Cami, I have learnt the hard way. I used to be extremely trusting of anybody that was in a white coat, so to speak. Trust anything that they said, really. But when my daughter was from the age of her being about 4 or 5 months old, there were so many things that I felt like weren't right. People made mistakes. People gave me bad advice. People encouraged me not to breastfeed because they didn't think I'd be able to cut out all the allergens from my diet. They didn't know me. I was determined, and there was no way that I was gonna stop feeding her. I was determined to remove all the allergens from my diet. So there were lots of things that I realised, okay, I can't accept what these people say. I've got to ask the questions. I've got to challenge. And some of the medicine they've wanted to give my daughter, and I've said, no, I'm not happy about that. It doesn't go down very well. I am the awkward mum. I like following the awkward mum, those of you that follow her. So I do become I'm sure I become the difficult one. But, if they're confident in their positions and confident on the advice, they don't mind somebody asking questions, do they? Sandy says you've done a lot of work inside and out today. Busy day for you. Relax this evening if you can. Cynthia Miller says I was bowled over by the fireplace tile in your daughter's room. So beautiful. We have a very quiet weekend, staying indoors and bundling up. We've had wind, light snow and ice, which is unusual for south central Texas. We worry about pipes bursting and losing power when it gets into the 20s. What is the weather like now, Cynthia? Is it improving? Now, I thought Texas got really hot in the summer. It was interesting that if you're still having quite, cold weather and snowy weather, you must have fairly sort of shorter season for warm weather, and then it gets really hot. Is that right, or am I getting in a muddle between states? So I'm in the pantry looking for things that I can get rid of. I wasn't in here for long. My husband had popped to the supermarket at this point, and I had a quick look to see what I could get rid of while my daughter was revising her Latin words, because she's got a Latin test next week. I did decide to get rid of one of the trays, and I didn't save it to talk about later, when I talk straight to the camera, because it was all rusty. So I'm just recording this because I want to get rid of this straight away. It's in there and it's all rusty, so I just want to put that straight in the bin. So that was number one of the things that I got rid of. So I decided to put that straight in the bin. There were some other things I looked at. I really felt like I could get rid of more in the pantry, but the problem is some of these things other people in the house want to keep hold of. Did you see the Disney World items and the Disneyland Paris items? Some of these things I can get rid of now because I think, well, if I get rid of it, that will mean I'll have to go back and I'll have to get another Star Wars drink in the Star Wars bar, because my husband wanted to go to the Star Wars bar and he got the Star Wars container, the drink. If I get rid of it, I feel like, oh, well, that will mean I'll go back and get another one. But he doesn't quite think like that. He wants to keep hold of it. And then we've got 3 drinks containers that we got from Disneyland Paris a few years ago. And we each had one, and they are really nice. And then as we left, my husband put his on the car roof and then drove off and forgot it. So it fell off and obviously smashed. And he was a bit upset. And I said, look, do you want me to go in and get you another one? He said, yes, I would really. So I went in and asked to get another one, and they provided me with another one. So he doesn't want to get rid of his drinks container either. And then the other drinks container you might have spotted is one that if you take to Great Yarmouth, you get free slushy. So that's why we've kept hold of it. Although, to be honest, we've never gone back with it to get a free one. We always forget. Now you'll see that I'm at the top of the stairs, and the reason why I was there was that was all getting a bit too much. I don't want loads of things or more things at the top of the stairs. Yes, we're trying to sort out my daughter's room. I don't want to have to climb over too many things. So you can see there I was just taking some of the things off the unit and putting them away just to keep them tidy and cleared as much as possible. We're hoping she's not going to be in here for months. We're hoping it's only going to be a few weeks, but you don't know. So I want to make sure there's a minimal amount of dust, really, dust catchers. I also wanted to mention that my daughter sold some more things off online, off the app where we've been posting things. So she's really excited about that. So I sold some vintage fabric that she'd taken photographs of and put online. And we've got some more fabric under there. Some really nice shoes and some other things that we're going to advertise. So fingers crossed we'll get rid of even more. So I just also wanted to mention in terms of next month. So next month, all the money that I get from ad revenue will be going to a special educational needs charity in Norfolk. Now somebody mentioned about, well, isn't that like a local government service? How does that work? I thought SEN was a department at the council. So the council will have a department connected to special educational needs, but SEN stands for Special Educational Needs, and the charity is for parents of children who are going through the whole process to get their children the right support, to fight to get right places at the school. Now, I don't know what it's like in other parts of the country, but we have large numbers of children with special educational needs that do not have the right support. The parents have to go to formal hearings in order to get a little bit of one-to-one support in class, or to get them into the right junior school or high school. And for many, some parents can do that by themselves, but other parents, it's really hard and really daunting. And this charity, Special Educational Needs Norfolk, they provide people who will support parents through the journey. They'll help with filling the forms in, they'll give them assistance, they'll go along to the hearings, they'll provide advice. So they really are a worthwhile charity for children and to make a difference in Norfolk. And they also support those people that are aged 16 to 25. Now, this is a sort of an age where people often get forgotten, people with special educational needs. So they might have some support when they're younger, might have some support when they get to high school, but when they start getting to like 16, 17, 18 and then transition into adulthood, the support available is limited, to say the least. And this charity provides advice in terms of work placements, college places and next steps. So they make things easier for parents. So know that every time you comment on my videos, every time you like one of my videos or hype one of my videos, you are contributing to the amount of money that hopefully we will raise at the end of the month. So I hope you'll get behind the charity and maybe watch some of my old videos if you're new here. Maybe run the videos a couple of times. Maybe open a window incognito, which also counts as another view. Whatever you do, like that really, really will help. And I'll do regular updates throughout the month so you know how much we've raised. Now you can see at the moment I'm in the smallest bedroom and I'm trying to see whether I can get rid of a couple of these collectible toys. However, unfortunately, we've got pieces missing. So I need to decide what I'm going to do. Will I just sell it as it is with a couple of pieces missing, or will I keep hold it for a little bit longer and hope that the missing pieces turn up? There's also that vintage doll. I'm just looking back on the video. I can see the vintage doll's legs. I really need to get that online because I'm hopeful I'll be able to sell her online as well. I hope you like the scarf in my hair. I was looking through the top drawer on that chest of drawers and I thought a few of you will laugh when you think like with like, because in that drawer I've got that scarf that I've got in my hair. I've got my hairdryer because that is where my hairdryer lives. I've got a winter scarf that I had from the age of about 5. It's there because I don't want to wear it in the winter, because if I lost it, I would be really, really upset. I've got some Avon soaps. What else have I got in there? A remote control from my video camera that I bought when I was 16. So it's a bit of a random drawer, that one is. So I'm getting towards the end of my video, and I just really wanted to thank you all for making this such a lovely community. For all the support you've shown me, for everything that you've done to encourage me, to motivate me, to inspire me. You really are such a wonderful group of people. So thank you ever so much for all of that. And for those of you that are new, you might not know anything about my other channel. So Emma's Life in Norfolk and Getting Healthier. Getting Healthier, I just literally post once a week. I'm a little bit behind on that. I need to get posting. And then Emma's Life in Norfolk is about my garden, my life in Norfolk, holidays and other things we do. So please do look me up. I'm very, very close to being able to monetize Emma's Life in Norfolk. So that would really, really help me if you'd be able to look me up and follow me. So I'm nearly at the end of my video now. So thank you very, very much for watching. And my plan for the next couple of days is I really want to get back on top of the dining room. We've got the Disney castle on the dining room table. We've got books, music books, stationery, Lego flowers, headsets, many other things, all of which I just want to have the dining room back clear again. There's lots of washing which is dry that can be put away. Washing that I need to hang out. I need to do more washing. But the dining room has got chaotic. And I'm going to speak to my husband about all this Lego on the floor, because he was really very keen to get that done, because he wants to do the Star Wars Lego from his parents' house. But one set has been done and the rest of the Lego is still on the floor. So we've got to do something about that, because that's like eating up part of our lives now. It really is. And then you can see me painting. I did a double coat of paint so I can really see the depth of colour. It really does look blue. My daughter says, oh no, it doesn't look very blue. I want it to be more blue. So I think there's one other tester pot she wants to get hold of, just to do a little bit of a comparison. But as I was saying, tomorrow my plan to do more work on my daughter's room and to tidy up the dining room. Really need to do a lot more on the dining room. And then in terms of all the items we got rid of today, so it was the one item from the tray which had all gone rusty, 34 pictures that I had been keeping hold of which I decided to get rid of, and then you will see a clip right at the very end where I also get rid of the dressing table mirror that my daughter had. It's a really nice little dressing table mirror. We picked it up for free, and now my daughter's decided that she doesn't want it anymore because she's got a different mirror, and so we are going to give it away for free for somebody else to enjoy. So you will see that clip right at the very end. You'll also see the piles of all the things that I'm getting rid of. I am going to go back through my videos tomorrow and work out how many items I actually got rid of. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, way over the target of 496 items. So I'm really, really pleased about that. And then all right, you'll see a clip where I talk to the camera and talk a little bit about the boards and the painting and what I'm doing in the bedroom. And then right at the very end, I'm going to add some clips of Norwich for you to have a look at. I took those videos today. I also did get rid of a big picture with my daughter's name on it. I'm going to take the name out of the frame and we'll get rid of the frame. So that means it was a total of 34, 35, 36, 37 items today. I may even be tempted to weigh all the things that have left my house because the weight of some of these and a couple of the bags are starting to split. So I also need to put them in double bags to make sure they don't split on the way to the charity shop. So I want to talk a little bit about the floorboards. Now, we're still not quite sure what to do about the floorboards. When we bought the house, all of this flooring didn't have carpet. The lady, she was in sort of early 90s, and she'd got lino. So she had, the wood had all been stained around the outside, and then she had lino. So we ripped the lino up, and underneath the boards are quite nice, but clearly there's been a few bits where they've had to be cut because there was no central heating, so we ran central heating in, so the boards have been cut there and then it's been screwed back, so we'd have to look at changing that. And also my husband ran wires in order to have the data points. Sorry, I just had to have a cough. So this is an example of where it's not such a good join. But a lot of the rest of the boards look really nice. I love the tiles. My daughter's not so keen. But we could change that in terms of having a rug. So I'm thinking that she could have a couple of rugs that go into the wash, and then the rest of it just can be mopped, and there's less, capturing of all the dust. I think it's really interesting over there. I'll move the camera in a bit, where she's stained. The old lady had stained the floor. I'll move it. Can you see that? Over here. Here, clearly she'd had like a chest of drawers, and they stained around the chest of drawers rather than moving the chest of drawers, which is quite interesting. And then also someone the other day said to me, is that mould in the corner? No, this is all dust and cobwebs, which requires cleaning. See? None of that's mould. We don't have a problem with mould in this house, thankfully.
It's a peach iced tea.
Yeah, but the rim is quite thick, and we've got a lot of glasses, haven't we?
I know.
I think those ones are nice ones. So that one, Elm Hill, about Norwich Marketplace.
Yeah.
It's quite nice.
Soon it won't look like that though.
No, it's changing, isn't it? Oh, we've got the castle. Here we've got the castle. St Peter Mancroft. Oh, look. So thank you very much for watching my video, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye!